Hi everyone, welcome to the Car Chat podcast. And with us this week, we have Kersten. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, very good. Welcome back, because you've been on the podcast before. I can't remember what episode number. I should have written this down. It was back in May 2020. So if anyone wants to see what sort of, we went over in the first time, how you got into all of this and blah, 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 blah. How would you describe yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
What do I stand for?
Yeah, what do you stand for in life?
Who am I? So I am an automotive YouTuber for Throttle. Automotive journalist. I just love cars and I love, being in front of the camera. Apart from cars, I love, DIY, messing around in the garden. Got a house renovation going on at the moment.
Oh, nice.
I like home gym stuff as well.
Which,
yeah, probably a bit of a giveaway. Actually, I think the last time we chatted, I was also in a home gym, but this is now in a different house.
Okay. So you've moved, right?
Yeah, have moved. Yeah, not too far away, but just nice bigger house with a garage. I say garage; it's a kind of enclosed lean-to, which is where we tried to start this podcast, but the internet was too crap. So
yes, we actually had an amazing backdrop. It was all very themed and everything.
Yeah, I know you're all about the aesthetic, and I was trying to get on your level, but my internet just failed. So
well, now if all things fail, you can just like smash out a few reps and come back, get the blood pumping.
Indeed, yeah. But yeah, I've been doing YouTube for about 10 years now. Started life working at Autocar magazine for a couple of years, and then moved over to Throttle in 2012. So
10 years.
We've come a long way.
10 years. Do you do anything like totally differently now to like a couple of years ago?
I would say in the last 2 or 3 years, we've kind of found our niche of used older cars, sub £500 cars that you can go out and buy on a Friday and then have an adventure with on a Saturday and Sunday with your mates. I think that is our niche, our USP, and that's what sets us apart from other YouTubers who, most of the automotive YouTubers about new cars, right, and supercars, and living the unattainable dream. Whereas with me and with what we do is we just strip it completely back to bare bones, and not everyone has those kind of aspirations. Not everyone has lots of money to mess around with, and if you like cars, you can still have amazing times and adventures with your friends in a car that costs 200 quid. So I think that's what we're about, relatable content.
Yeah, I was just looking back at some of the things you've sort of been up to over the last year and a bit, and there just looks like there's loads and loads and loads of stupid and fun things you've done with like the three of you just messing around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we do cheap car challenges. That's a thing that people come back to the channel for. So for example, £500 sports car challenge, we'll each buy a car for 500 quid, smash it around a track, do drifting competitions, lap time competitions, stupid competitions, how quickly can you put your roof down and then go round a lap, and all those kinds of things. It's just, like I said, just relatable content, and we've done lots of kind of adventure stuff, going on long road trips, everything really, everything you can shake a stick at with an old car, we'll give it a go.
Okay, let's say the £500 sports car. What's been the best £500 sports car you've bought to date? Messed with?
Messed around with £500. I'd say, what did we get? The MGF, that was pretty good. We got that for 500 quid a couple of years ago. Knocked about in that for a little while. Not the best handling car. It's a floppy mess. But, for 500 quid, you can't complain, can you? It's fairly pokey. You can put the roof down. Insurance is cheap. And if you crash it, it doesn't really matter because it costs nothing. So just scrap it and pretty much get your money back. But we've bought a whole array of cool cars. One of the most recent ones we did was a £5,000 sports car challenge, which was actually biggest budget for us for cars. So we had a 300 ZX that Jack was in. I had a Porsche Boxster, just a 2.7, first gen. And Ethan, because he's not a car guy, he decided to buy himself a PT Cruiser because that was his idea of a sports car. And with those three cars, we just smashed those about on track. We did a drifting competition. We did drag race, all the rest of it. And, cars break down, and that's the fun of it. So, it's just good fun, man.
How did the PT Cruiser fare in all of that?
Very badly. Yeah, it was dog slow. The clutch was gone by the end of it. And it's hand on heart, the worst car I've ever driven in my life. I've nothing against the PT Cruiser. Historically, it's just if you've never driven one, then you should just give it a go because it will just reset what you know as a bad car because everything is just wrong. It's an ergonomic mess. You sit far too high up. Even I'm too tall for it, and I'm 5'7".
Yeah,
it's just I don't know what they were thinking at the time, but they must have all been drunk.
And an early Boxster.
Yeah,
because I know you did some stuff about should it be your next project car?
Yeah.
Buying something like a Boxster, which was reasonably expensive when it came out, and then now you can buy it for an early one for let's say £5,000 or whatever.
Yep.
Versus an MX-5, which is cheaper to start with and might be a similar sort of price. How do those two compare when you're messing around with them as a project car?
The aftermarket for something like an MX-5 is so much bigger. Parts are cheaper, insurance is going to be cheaper, fuel is going to be cheaper. You can afford to mess it up with an MX-5 a lot more than you can with a Boxster. But that's not to say that a Boxster is difficult or particularly expensive to run. It's been given classic car status now by Porsche, which means that spare parts are actually a fair amount cheaper than a lot of people would expect. So, if you've got a little bit of disposable income and you want a $5,000 Boxster, then I say go for it because out of the box, it's a really good car. And there is some aftermarket. If you put a good set of tyres and good set of suspension on it, then it's a wicked car. The engine's great, even the 2.7, I think 220 brake. It feels good. The only thing I would say is that it's got an open diff, which kind of lets it down. But if you spend a couple of grand on something like a $5,000 Boxster, then you'll have a really wicked car. But you have to kind of get it right first time. Whereas with an MX-5, if you mess it up, it doesn't matter. Just throw that part away, start again, or go on Facebook Marketplace and buy another set of Jom coilovers or whatever they're called. But yeah, Boxster parts more hard to come by, but definitely better out the box.
And you're saying with Ethan is like not a car guy and doesn't know his stuff. He's been doing this for a while now. Has he not been converted yet?
Yeah, so you're right. His knowledge is actually probably better than most people because we've done, like you said, we've been doing this for a long time. We've done lots of listicle videos about the differences between, American spec Mustang or UK European spec Mustang. Same with American M3 and European M3. So he can tell you those differences, and that would surprise a lot of people. He knows the difference between, straight six, V6 differences, how a diesel engine works versus how a petrol engine works. But he's never really got into the wanting to work on a car himself until we bought him a Project Z3. So he's got his own project car now. So he's been getting as stuck in as Ethan can with project car life, and we've been kind of guiding him in the loosest sense, I would say. So we've done a few episodes with him where he's, changed suspension, where he's changed the brake discs, the brake pads. We got him to do a clutch as well, and he needed quite a lot of help with that. But he's kind of come round to the whole petrol head ethos, and he does get it, but he wouldn't spend a Saturday underneath the car.
Yeah.
But he now enjoys driving, which is good, which is very good because he didn't have that enjoyment before.
That's a good success. I would say he's done more mechanical stuff on a car than I have, which probably means I need to go and do some more mechanical stuff to put myself above above Ethan in the stakes.
Yeah, I mean, just put some air in your tyre and you've probably done more than Ethan. No,
But changing a clutch,
yeah.
I mean, that's big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really do a lot. He was there, and we told him to unbolt this and, you know, try and take the gearbox out, and he needed a lot of hand holding. But, you know, he got his hands dirty, and he tried his hardest, and there was a lot of swearing, and, you know, he was like a typical mechanic, really. So it's good. What I've enjoyed doing over the years is completely pushing him out of his comfort zone. So the next time he tries something, he can say, "Oh, you know, at least I've done X, Y, Z." So I would say that I've turned him into a better rounded human being. Definitely.
Great success. One of the videos you did, I haven't watched it, so I can't tell you. I can't comment on the answer. You did fast car, slow driver, slow car, fast driver. How did that pan out? Who was the slow driver? Was it Ethan?
Well, yeah. It wouldn't be me, would it? So, yeah, that was Hyundai i20N versus the i20N line. So it's the Hyundai i20N, for people who don't know, is the new kind of hot hatch, the Fiesta ST rival. So 200 horsepower, about 200 pound-foot of torque, 0 to 60, I think, 6.8 seconds, top speed 145. And the N line is a 1 litre triple mild hybrid with 118 horsepower. I can't remember the torque figure, but you know, the 0 to 60 in that is 10.2 or so. So it's considerably slower.
Yeah.
And we were at a track in Wales that both of us had never driven. And the premise is Ethan is in the N, you know, the full fat version. He sets some lap times, and then it's up to me to beat it. But throughout the video, we don't know each other's lap times.
Oh, okay.
So to keep it fair and for a bit of context as well, I start doing the laps in the full fat N, and I say, okay, 49 seconds this car can do with both of us. And then Ethan goes round, I give him a bit of tuition. And then I think after a few laps, he smashed out 52, which was incredible. So he's only like 3 seconds behind me, which is really good. And then I had to, take on the challenge, beat him in the N line, and I couldn't do it. There was no more power. There was no more time to get out of that poor little car. So yeah, he won that one. So fair play to him. Yeah, he really gave it a good go.
Yeah, because that's a couple of seconds. That's reasonably close. That's that's the difference between a driver.
Yeah. Exactly. I was surprised. He was equally surprised as well. And we didn't find out until the very end, after we'd shot everything, who actually won. So it came as a really nice surprise for him that he won. He smashed it.
I like that, because that puts that sort of story that everyone tells of like, oh, I went to the track and I went faster than insert some GT3 RS in my Honda Civic or something. Like, you might have done, but it was probably parked.
Yeah, or he was on a cool down lap. Yeah,
exactly. Run out of fuel, all those things.
Yeah. Or when you say, oh yeah, I overtook a McLaren P1 on the motorway in my Citroen C1. It's like, okay, yeah, because you were doing like 72 and he was doing 70. It doesn't count, man. It doesn't count. It's all about context, isn't it?
All about context.
Yeah.
And not getting raced. Like, oh, I beat him off the line. Okay, they were on their phone. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's a valid excuse, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, I was on my phone. Yeah. Don't get me started on people on their phone. Bloody hell. Oh.
I had a car recently as a loan. It was a new Volvo V90 estate, and I thought it was quite a nice car and whatnot. And then I was looking back through some of your videos, and one of the titles was like, I bought a Volvo for £1. And I was looking back, and it didn't even look like it wasn't even an old Volvo.
Yeah, I think it's a 52 plate, 280,000 miles on the clock. It was really ropey. Yeah, very ropey. We drove to Wales to pick it up because I got a DM from this youngish dad who was starting a YouTube channel with his 5-year-old son, and I think more than anything they just wanted to meet us and shoot a video with us. The car was worth probably like 300 quid scrap value, but it's more of an experience for them. But yeah, we had that Volvo for probably just under a year or so. We did a few videos with that. I used that Volvo to move house as well. I bought a patio in Kent and I drove back with probably about a ton's worth of patio. I mean, the car was on its bump stops. I'm surprised I didn't get pulled over. But anyway, the final hurrah for that car was at Kerber Sprint Course, which is the track that we use a lot. And we have a kind of series called Strip It and Rip It, where you take a normal car and you just completely gut it, and then you find out how much quicker you can make it around a track. Yeah. So, with the £1 Volvo, we tried to see if we could make it faster than an Octavia VRS, because we've got one as a long-termer at the moment. Yeah. And it was very, very close. But we stripped, I think, 370 kilos out of that thing.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. And we did that in, I think, half an hour as well.
Okay.
But each door was about 45 kg. It's really, really heavy.
Oh, is this okay? This is the car you took the doors off and everything.
Yes, yeah. Doors, part of the exhaust, the tow bar, the rear door, the bumper, the bonnet, the wings, side skirts, everything in the interior that could go went as well. I mean, there was probably another 50 kg to take out, but you'd be undoing a lot of nuts and bolts, and we didn't have the time. But
Are you wearing like body armor?
Yeah, so Gareth and I, we were wearing our kind of motorbike gear. Although you will notice that Gareth is also wearing shorts, so it kind of defeats the object. But yeah, body armor on top and heelmets, and the bottom, it'll heal, right?
It looks pretty badass, actually. Just seeing it in a picture.
Yeah,
cars in that spec. Occasionally, you see someone's respraying something or rebuilding it or whatever, and they take it for a drive with like no body parts on. Yeah. Do look pretty cool, dangerous, but cool.
Absolutely, yeah. You should see the MR2 that we built recently. It's the latest video on the channel now. So we took a £100 Mark III MR2, gutted that, and then we gave it an exoskeleton, massive wheels. The wheels and tyre combo was 45 kilograms a corner. I think a normal wheel's probably about 20 kgs. Wow. Yeah. And we took it off-roading, and it was amazing. It was better than any off-roader I've taken there before.
It looks... Okay, I've just seen a picture of it.
Badass.
You've done a good job on that. Doing the cage. How did you do the cage on the outside?
Well, we took it to BDS Motorsport. So a guy called Bruno, he's motorsport oriented, kind of older BMWs and Porsches and stuff. He builds engines and all that. And we just said, because I've known him for a few years, are you interested in this project? And he stupidly said yes. So he learned on the job. He's never built an exoskeleton or anything like that. But I think it was 3-4 weeks of solid nights and pipe bending and welding. The exoskeleton alone is about 40 meters of pipe.
Wow.
Yeah. The exoskeleton, I think, weighs maybe like 80, 90 kilos. So, yes, it's a lot of pipe, a lot of welds. We put bucket seats in, harnesses. Like I said, those massive tyres. The thing was 2 meters wide by the time we finished with it. It doesn't fit on a trailer. It's wide. Yeah, it's too wide by about a foot to fit on a trailer. So So it was wicked. But it needs a good clean because it's full of mud currently.
It looks like you had a lot of fun. With that.
Yeah, that was wicked.
Where did you take it?
We took that to a place. Yeah, we took that to a place called Avalanche Adventure. We've used it loads of times before to do lots of kind of off-roady videos. And the guy you just rock up and he says, all right, have fun. If you need anything or if you need me to pull you out with my tractor, just give me a call. Nice. He's had to do that once before because I managed to drown a Defender during my autocar days.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, like water got into the ECU and fried the car, so that was very awkward.
Yeah, surely Defender people would be like, that's impossible. Just keep running, just keep going.
Yeah, until they remember that the ECU is actually underneath the driver's seat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so when water gets in, that's the first thing that it looks for. Yeah, but the MR2 is great because the intake was, because it's obviously mid-engined. The intake is by your head.
Yeah,
and the car was a foot taller than standard. So the ground clearance was incredible. It was really good. Yeah, I look forward to taking that to shows and doing some more off-roading with that at some point.
It's so funny because I was just doing a bit of prep for the podcast and looking through the stuff, and I saw this car, and like at the weekend I was at Revival and chatting to the guys from Morgan.
Oh yeah,
about their I think it's like 180 grand or something CXT where they've taken a +4 and done a more professional job, but it's like a similar sort of concept.
Yeah, I mean the thing that we've built is like a budget Nomad.
Yeah.
If you put those side by side and squint a little bit, then yeah. So I think all in ours is about 8 grand's worth of work, including materials, and we sprayed the cage in Raptor paint. It's like this bedliner paint that you put in the back of trucks.
Okay.
And it's super durable stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing stuff. Proper hardy. So if anyone's got any rusty cars, then just like spray it with Raptor paint and then just forget about it, because it'll keep your MX-5 together for many more years.
Yeah, even if it's already rusted, it will just meld it all together.
Yeah, it will cover it all up, and then you don't need to worry about it anymore.
So did you drive? Is that road legal? Does that make
it is not? No, most definitely not road legal. Although the rear
it
lights
on
do work.
Tarmac surface?
No. We had to change the wheels to actually fit it onto a trailer, and then when we got to the quarry, we jacked it up again, and then put the wheels on, and then we cracked on. But I have joked with Bruno, the guy who built the car, that we should try and reverse everything and get it completely standard again. And he cried and died a little bit inside. Imagine that would be the worst thing.
All those hours.
Yeah.
Just chuck that cage away.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't mind just making all of those pipes straight again.
Yeah. I think. Since definitely since the podcast, I interviewed someone called Bruce Southey, who.
Oh yeah.
I believe. Do you have a Rocketeer setup in Phil?
I do, yeah. Brucey Bonus, I know him well.
Because I knew you'd done something like that with your car, but I hadn't. So for the people listening that haven't listened to it, this guy called Bruce Southey owns a company called Rocketeer Cars who put V6s. Is it V6?
Yeah, V6. Yeah,
V6s in MX-5, and Alex has one in Phil, his MX-5.
Yeah,
and listening to him talk about that for like an hour or whatever it was, I was like, oh man, this sounds brilliant. And I know you've always been like, yeah, it's great. Like, it's great. You're like, yeah, but you own the car. Obviously, you're going to say it's great. And obviously, he's going to say it's great because it's his project. But now I've heard it from multiple sides. I'm like, this sounds
we're still very biased sides though, so it could be absolute rubbish.
It's true.
Yeah.
I've said, he's like, come drive it. Okay, I'll drive it and I'll tell you if it's shit or not.
Yeah. Oh, first swear. There we go. We've opened the floodgates now. Yeah,
we got past 24 minutes, so
okay.
it's all kicking off.
Okay, shit fuck. Okay, I've got it out now. The Rocketeer kit. So yeah, you're kind of underselling it a little bit because he does, everything is custom. The subframe is custom made. It's lighter. It's smaller than the one it replaces. The engine itself is an Jaguar AJ30 V6, which is actually, I bore everyone about this fact. It's Porsche derived V6. So it started life as a Porsche engine. They decided they didn't want it, probably because it was just too good for them and they didn't want too much success. So Ford took it, Jaguar took it, and then Brucey Bonus took it. But the engine fits onto the subframe, and then the engine bolts onto the existing MX-5 gearbox with an adapter plate. So there's a few. It's a bit more complicated than that, but in essence, it fits on to the MX-5 gearbox, and the gearbox can take the power. And the power that I'm producing is about 252 last time on the dyno. But it's not about power. It's about torque, and it's about noise, and it's about being able to cruise around town, in fourth or fifth gear at 30 miles an hour, and being able to pull away from everything behind you, and just that torque band is just amazing, and reliability and longevity, because I've been through the turbocharged phase. I've ruined 2 engines doing all of that, oil starvation, but if you have a relatively, large V6 not pushing a lot of weight around, it's going to be quite unstressed. And I mean, what Bruce has done, with the intake manifolds and everything, he's designed a very, very good bit of kit. It's a very compelling package. It's also very expensive, but if you have a car that you're never going to sell, why not? Spend I think 10 or 12 grand turnkey conversion. You can give it to Bruce and his guy, and they'll do everything for you. And the support afterwards as well if there's any issues, because there's always going to be teething problems. But so far so good. I actually took Phil to the Mazda MX-5 Owners Club event yesterday in Buckinghamshire. Admittedly, I had to trailer Phil because I had my girlfriend, my dog, and loads of stuff, so I had to take the actual kind of crew car. But yeah, fired up. On the first turn of the key, the petrol that's in there is about a year and a half old, but
still goes.
It still goes. It still sounds awesome. Still turns heads, and when you lift that engine cover and see that V6 and those carbon fiber intakes, it just wows everybody. It's a really, really good bit of kit, and I'm sure Bruce has already told you, but the V6 is actually the same weight or lighter than the 4-cylinder it replaces, because it's aluminium. So it slots in really nicely.
It was really interesting hearing a deep dive, and I would heavily suggest the people that have not come across it go and have a listen, because it sounds like it's a very comprehensive product. And I thought an interesting part about it was because the engine was in the Jaguar S type, is that right?
Yeah.
It's like a saloon car,
Big
significantly heavier than an MX-5. And one of the things I found interesting is you said the change in character of the engine, taking it out of a car like that with that amount of weight and putting it in an MX-5, like you end up with a different engine almost. Like obviously it's the same, but a driving experience is completely different between the two.
Yeah.
'Cause I had a similar one recently. Have you driven a Morgan Plus 4, the newish one?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, so that has the same engine as I think a 335i BMW.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And at the time when I drove it, I had an M2. So obviously slightly beefed up version of that. But then went and drove not the Plus 4. Sorry, not the Plus 4, the Plus 6.
Okay.
The Plus 6 has
that
that
would make
same
sense. Yeah.
engine in it. But the difference between the two, one weighing like a ton and one weighing, 1,500 kilos or something.
Yeah.
It feels like you've got into like a 911 turbo or something, like just all like crazy torque and all that stuff. It was just an unbelievable difference in what is quite a sort of okay engine, like in one of those cars, versus putting it in something significantly lighter.
Yeah.
And it made me think, when I heard about putting it in an MX-5, I was like, I think there's something going on here.
Yeah, it is a really good conversion. And, people in America, they put LS engines in, crate engines because, they're easy to come by. There's companies, Flying Miata, in the States that do all of that. But, in the UK, someone actually asked me yesterday, why didn't you do the LS swap? And I was like, well, A, because they're harder to come by here, and B, because I don't want an LS. I'm not about V8 life. I like 5 and 6 pot engines. They're my kind of go-to. I like the Volvo Fiat 5 pots. And you can't really beat the sound of a V6 or even a straight 6. And when you put it in something as light, like you said, as an MX-5, and the car really flies and it sounds amazing, and people look around like, where's that noise coming from? That's not a 4-pot. It's wicked. It puts a smile on your face, puts a smile on everyone else's face. It's a proper raw driving experience, and it's just so noisy. It's wicked. Yeah, I love it. I really love it.
Presumably, like an LS must be quite a bit heavier.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will be, and it will, imbalance, front and rear, and it'll make it nose heavy, and it'll probably dive a bit more, and you'll probably have to beef up the suspension. And there's so many different components that you'll have to swap and chop out and change with an LS swap. But you can get mad power with an LS, can't you? But for me, I'm 36 now. I'm not all about big horsepower figures and stuff like that. I just like good noise and good amount of torque and just having fun. and I do really like my license as well. So that's very important
Yeah.
for my day job. So it's good if I don't go too mad.
You've had a couple of like extended loan sort of press cars, haven't you?
Yeah.
You had a. What did you have? Do you have a
M340D.
M340D?
M340D.
340D?
Yeah.
What was that like?
So the M340D is the best press car that I've ever had. It's, everyone talks about, what's the best car, the best complete car. For me, it's that, because it's got great performance. It looks like a cop car more than most cop cars. Like literally everything gets out of the way. It's comfortable, it's refined, it's really fast, good on fuel. The one I had was, I think, 62 grand. It's a lot of money, but we also have the Octavia VRS in that Ethan's driving. He's still got that. The BMW is sadly gone. And when you think, is a car really worth more by, a jump of, £25,000? If those two cars do largely the same thing, and when you spend time with these cars, the answer is yes, because the BMW makes you feel so much more special. There are no rattles. It's little things as well, like the kick plates in the Octavia, they're already fading. The infotainment is rubbish. In the BMW, you get in, just everything works, and you never have to second guess everything. And it's just a car that you can 100% depend on. And I absolutely love it. The reason it went was because A, because the loan was up, and B, because I needed something to tow with, because we've been doing lots of videos where we've been taking people's cars and doing them up for them on their behalf. So, these cars aren't road legal, so we make them road legal. So I have to cart them around the country, take them to the workshop and do them up. So I'm currently in a Mazda CX-5.
Okay.
It's a cool car. It's a 2.5 petrol automatic all-wheel drive. It tows okay. It's not the most refined thing in the world, but it does exactly what I need to. And I think I said to you last time, I try never to kind of live above my means. So I just like to have cars that are a little bit left field, a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Because then the really special stuff feels even more special when you get into it.
Totally.
But the M340D is it would be my go-to. If someone said, what's the one car that you have to live with for the rest of your life, it would be that, 100%.
And presumably you could tow with that. Obviously it's gone back, so you don't have it anymore. But presumably you could tow with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well.
I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the same weight as the CX-5. So probably 1.6, 1.7 tons, because it's all-wheel drive as well. And it's just got so much torque and so much power. I think it's like 340 or 345 horsepower, probably 360, near 400 pound-foot of torque. It's an absolute monster. Yeah, you put your foot down in that and poof, you're gone. It's wicked.
Yeah.
But it's so linear. It's a bit boring because it's just so easy to do.
Yeah, effortless performance, I guess.
Exactly.
From an engine like that.
Because aren't you looking? Haven't you been saying on Twitter you're looking for something?
Yes, basically. My conundrum is the size of car. Mm-hmm. So I think in reality, I want something that has the space of like an E-Class estate. I don't really want an SUV. I'm not really looking for that at the moment. But I would prefer a car that's the size of a 3 Series. Now, obviously, they don't exist. You can't have space with it and still be small. If space wasn't a thing, I would absolutely, like a 340i or maybe the 340D would just be just like tick, done. Like, but I don't really know. I don't. Yeah. I'm going to go.
There's an obvious solution here.
What's that?
You buy the M340D or the M340i and you strip out the rear and you just turn it into a panel van.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is obviously a solution.
There you go. And you can put a seat in the back as well, rotating seat, so you can do your car to car. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, there we go. That would be it.
Yeah.
On the towing thing, I don't know. I was looking recently because I was like, I should really get I've not got my tow license, whatever.
You don't need to anymore, do you?
And you don't need it.
No, they've scrapped it.
One of the most radical... I understand they've done it because of whatever reason, But it seems like a really stupid idea.
Yeah, I think so, because I've been towing for like, I don't know, a couple of years now. I did my tow license a couple of years ago, and it's one of those things that you can very easily fail. Reverse maneuvers, it takes a while to get into your head. So to take anyone who's driven for 2 or 3 years and say, go tow this around.
Yeah.
And if you get caught in traffic or if you have to reverse, pardon my French, but no way in fuck is anyone going to be able to reverse a trailer with a car down the road without knocking into everything. Because I struggle, and I've been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
It really does mess with your mind, and you really have to be very careful when you're towing. And, most of the people who drive these days, who get their licenses, they're not particularly careful because a lot of cars do a lot of work for you. You've got lane assist, you've got blind spot monitoring, but you don't have any of that with a trailer on the back. It's all on you. So I don't know why this decision has been made. All I know that it's great for trailer manufacturers.
Yes.
But it's probably going to be quite damning for road users. But also, who actually wants to tow stuff? I mean, most sensible people, they'll say, oh, I need to move stuff. Oh, I'll get a trailer. Will they? Or will they just get a man with a van? Or will they just hire a van? I don't know. But there's obviously going to be some idiots out there who will just tow anyway. But also, at the same point, I used a trailer without a trailer license many years ago. I was never stopped. So I'm sure people have been trailering for so long anyway.
You can up to a certain weight trailer anyway.
Yeah, a teeny tiny one, but now anyone can do 3.5 tons.
Yeah. You know what's even on top of that? Apparently, they've made the HGV test easier. And the thing they've removed is reversing. Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really worrying. Are they just counting on the fact that a lorry always has right of way? But what happens if 2 lorries need to reverse? Or oh god, what a mess! I don't get it. I didn't see any reasons behind the decision. Maybe I need to look into it. But for me, it doesn't really make sense.
It was something to do with getting more drivers and like through the system and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And whilst I understand that there is a need for that, I think an HGV driver that cannot reverse is going to cause so much damage.
Yeah. Maybe next week.
Even good ones do.
Yeah, maybe next week they'll introduce another new law where HGV drivers can use their mobile phones.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows exactly?
Yeah, but very, very strange decisions on the whole trailer license stuff. I don't get it, because surely it's a good way for government to carry on making money. But weird one.
Yeah, weird one. I think it personally. I understand if it's a bit of a problem getting everyone through the test and whatever, but like that should be the case. Yeah. And I think maybe if you're going to make it easier, just say there's a mandatory course you've got to do, even if it's just online. Like, I say I'm quite good at reversing with stuff on the back, but I've never towed in a car. I've done a lot of trailer stuff not in a car. So quad bikes, buggies, tractor, whatever. I've done a reasonable amount of that stuff. But like you'd think you'd be like, okay, you've got to go and spend a morning with this person in a car park. Just navigating cones and whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. One of those tests that you can't fail, but you've got a bit of experience.
Exactly. You've realised. You've learnt that if your trailer starts moving about on a motorway, the thing you don't do is slam on the brakes.
No. Just foot in until you hit 100, and then just what will be will be. That's correct, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, after that point, if something goes wrong, it'll be over faster.
Exactly. I like your thinking. Yeah.
Have you so what else? Okay, so you've done that. You have you had any other interesting sort of press cars? You had the Hyundai.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that good?
The Hyundai i20N is a wicked little hot hatch. I've not driven the new Fiesta ST. By all accounts, it's it's better or as good as that. But from where I was sitting on the, was it Landau? Yeah, Landau track.
Yeah.
You've probably been there.
I've never been.
Oh, really? Okay. It's it's pretty much all right-handers. There's one chicane, but pretty high-speed right-handers. It destroys tyres. But this little thing had incredible mechanical grip. The brakes were really good, really progressive. The handling was properly on point. The steering was really quick and nicely weighted. The car itself felt really light on its feet. I really, 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 really like that car. I would happily have one of those as a long-termer, or if I was looking for a hot hatch, I would seriously consider buying one of those. Obviously, test driving the Fiesta ST beforehand, but really compelling package. And I think it's only like 25 grand, starting from 25 grand. Yeah. So it sounds like really good value from where I was sitting, to be honest.
Yeah, and I like that there's other manufacturers that you look at now and go like, actually, that's a compelling package on its own, ignoring all the stuff. And you know what? If I buy an i20N or an i30N, whatever, then there's not going to be anywhere near the number of those as Fiesta STs or Focus RSs. You're just not going to see as many by a long shot.
Yeah. There's a certain cool factor, isn't there, to having something that's a bit rare and a bit left field. And I would say, the people who are buying these cars are the people who have really done the research and who are proper petrol heads. Because it's very easy to go into a Ford dealership and say, what's a fast hot hatch? And they'll say, well, this one or this one. But there's obviously a lot more kind of unknowns with a brand like Hyundai, because historically it's not been particularly good. But, these days, N Performance is led by Albert Biermann, who is ex-BMW. So, he knows everything there is to know about, making a really compelling sports car. And he's trickled that through into Hyundai. So, I'm a big fan of his work, and I really, really love that car. I would say I actually prefer it over the i30N.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of just little cars with decent power. Lightweight is key, definitely.
Yeah, I drove the Fiesta ST Edition earlier this year.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like the ST with adjustable dampers and
wicked.
a diff and stuff like that.
Nice.
It was wicked. I went through a little bit of a thing of driving some small stuff, like the Yaris and whatever.
Oh, I've not driven that.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. But driving the Fiesta afterwards, they're very different. But I found driving the Fiesta afterwards, the Fiesta I thought was more fun.
Okay.
Because it moves around.
Yeah.
The Fiesta can move around quite a lot, and you don't have to chuck massive angles at it or whatever, but you can feel the rear like coming around and stuff like that. Whereas the Yaris is just bolted down. Like, you just put your foot in it like the entire time and it goes, which is fun in itself, but it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And like sketchiness is quite fun. I quite enjoy
Yeah, absolutely.
sketchiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A road trip isn't fun unless you've really shit your pants, is it?
Exactly. A car you've driven, the Citroen Ami, or is that what it's called?
Yeah, Citroen Ami. Yep.
That is a cool little thing. I like this new class. It's not really new, but that sort of class of car that's coming out at the moment of tiny, tiny stuff.
Yeah. So the Citroen Ami is a little electric car, 8 horsepower motor, range of I think 40 miles or so, top speed of 28. I want to say about 28 miles an hour. So it's slow. It's pretty uncomfortable. The seats are just made out of plastic. The passenger and the driver door are completely reversible. One opens that way, the other one opens that way. So it's just totally interchangeable. The front and rear panels as well are the same panel, just with different lights. But it's it's fun. It's different. It's quirky. I drove it around Coventry city centre. I used to live in Coventry doing my masters there, so it was just fun. Just going to my old haunts and being able to go through an underpass and just messing around with it really, and parking in trolley car parks. And, you know, I really love doing that kind of living with series where we take, you know, weird and wonderful cars and put them in situations that they're not really designed for.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Ami's a bad example because it is designed for the city, but, you know, I took it to the extreme by, you know, driving it, you know, through an underpass and just parking up wherever I wanted. It's great fun. It is really great fun. They're not sold in the UK currently. So Citroen are still, you know, figuring out if, you know, there is enough of a reason to ship them over and to start selling them here. My gut tells me possibly not. But, you know, you never know. I mean, the Twizy is no longer sold, so maybe that's enough, you know, and it tells you enough, really. And I know Renault don't want to push the Twizy anymore because they want to, you know, push their electric cars a bit more. So, you know, the Ami is fun, but maybe just more for kind of, you know, little French villages and stuff like that. Maybe not. Maybe not London life.
Yeah, I think Twizy was a bit of a problem because it didn't have windows, did it?
Well, you could buy those as kind of add-ons, but as a basic quadricycle, it came with, you're right, no windows, just these kind of blade doors that went up and down like that. For me, the biggest drawback of the Twizy was, okay, you're in this tiny quadricycle, sorry, it's electric, but what are the benefits? I don't understand. What is the USP? Because if you want to, you know, drive through London, you're stuck behind every single car, every single bus. You're not going faster than a car. Buy yourself a moped or do your motorbike license if you want to make progress. But, you know, you're sitting there, you're getting all the fumes. And that for me is not what I'm about. You know, if I'm in London, I want to have the aircon on.
Yeah. And
just chill, or I want to be on my motorbike and just get where I'm going as quickly as possible, within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
But
the smart makes more sense. Because you can park it either way. I don't think you could actually do that with a Twizy. I think it's too long.
Probably too long, yeah.
But then equally, you can have the windows shut and listen to your music and zone out.
Yeah.
And
you can take it on the motorway, and you can do probably, if you wanted to, 90 miles an hour, and you've got that, you know, Tritium safety cell in the smart car, so you know it's going to be good in a crash. Twizy, I don't think, because it's not classed as a car, I don't think it was ever Euro NCAP tested, so, you know, you wouldn't want to have a side impact with a bus in that. Definitely not. Yeah.
No, because a friend of mine had a Twizy. I think he might still have a Twizy. But he lived in just outside Monaco.
Seb.
And in like the front, Seb, exactly.
Yeah.
And he always used to use it for going up and down the hill, sort of into town and whatnot. And it actually, in that sense, south of France, like perfect.
Yeah.
And it only needed a range of whatever it was, and he would get into town. Whereas I have an E208 Peugeot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's my kind of like city car or daily little car. And I regularly take that for long journeys now, just because it's like electric, it's easy, and I just use it all the time. But having a range of like 20 miles or 30 miles is kind of pointless.
Yeah.
I get it, but like I'll probably just take the tube. If it's that short and it's in London, other methods of transport are much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, you're just being stuck in traffic with every other Tom, Dick and Harry. There were no real benefits. We've actually done a living with a Renault Twizy as well. I think that was about 5 years ago. It was good fun. It's just, you know, just a bit of a tongue-in-cheek look at what life is like with one of these things. But you know, it's fun maybe for a couple of months, but to live with, especially through winter, probably not so good. You know, range drops dramatically in colder climates. So not for me.
Because I think the last time we spoke, you had just got your motorbike license, or had you had it for a while?
Knocking on for a while now. 2.5 years now. Yeah, probably about 2 years. Yeah.
And do you travel a lot by motorbike? No, not really.
I used to commute every day to the office. But obviously since March 2020, it's just all been work from home, so it's more kind of just pleasure-based stuff doing on the motorbike. I'll occasionally, if I have to go to London for like physio, for example, for my shoulder, I'll just always take a motorbike because, you know, everything's on my terms and I'm not stuck in a tube. But yeah, I've done a few track days. Whenever I see my buddy Gareth, we're always going out on the motorbikes as well because, you know, he lives around Leamington Way and there's lots of kind of nice B roads. But yeah, I do really enjoy it. I will always take a motorbike over public transport these days.
Are there many electric motorbikes now?
Yeah, so there are more and more. There's the Harley Davidson Livewire. I think there's a few companies that are just popping up as well, making their own bikes from the ground up. I've not really looked into electric motorbikes too much because for me, you know, motorbike riding is dangerous enough, let alone when you don't have any noise. And if you're filtering and you don't see what's coming, then it's so easy just to knock into someone and knock a motorcyclist off. You know, I've had it maybe once or twice where I was just driving my car and this electric bike just came up. I was like, holy shit, where did you come from? I didn't hear you. You know, the phrase is loud pipes save lives. And I know lots of and lots of green activists say, oh no, it's all about electric. But, you know, when you're on a motorbike, you want to be heard before you're seen because you're usually, especially in London, you're traveling a lot more quickly, especially when you're filtering. You know, cars are maybe doing 10 miles an hour. You can be doing 30 odd. And that 20 mile an hour, it hurts, you know, when you get hit by a car. And there's a lot more at risk. So I don't know if there's any kind of noises that motorbike manufacturers are coming up with, but I've not actually heard an electric motorbike, which is worrying because I want to hear them. Yeah.
But then, like, bicycles survive. I know motorbikes are generally going faster than bicycles. And I've had a couple, I'm trying to think of like hairy incidents I've had of driving around town. Like a few with bicycles, but not close. With motorbikes, I've had a few where they've been in places that I just didn't expect someone to be. Like, I don't know, smashing down a bus lane or something, and you're not really paying attention, couldn't really hear it, and you're going to turn left or something, and you just start turning left, and then a bike just goes like vroom, straight past. You're like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've ridden a lot in London, and I use the bus lanes a lot, but I don't ride too quickly. You know, there's always going to be in my mind, some room for error. If someone cuts across, you know, I'll give myself enough braking distance. And there's too many people, especially where I live around West London, you know, A40 way, and, you know, they're in their gangs of mates. You know, there's maybe 5, 6, 8 of them on their R1s or Fireblades and stuff, and they're wearing shorts and T-shirts. And I'm like, man, you literally are an organ donor. So crack on, you know, hurt yourself, and it just gives bikers, like, people who actually care about life and care about the people around them. It gives those people a really bad name. But I would say in London, the biggest offenders are actually moped riders, delivery drivers. Because, you know, from my experience, it's the motorbikers in London who are fairly chilled out, you know, because there's not a lot of space. You've got to kind of bimble your way through traffic. But the mopeds, they just don't care because they can turn on a dime, really. And I've seen a lot of close calls with mopeds. Luckily, I've not been hit or not had too many close calls, but I think that's just because I'm, you know, managing my own speed, and you've just got to be so wary as well, and you've got to think for car drivers. You know, if you see a space, what would I do as that car driver? I'd probably go for it, and then by the time you've realised and they've realised, and it's just preempting everyone else's moves. So I think it's a lot of common sense, and the trouble is that a lot of people don't have common sense, so they just think they can get away with murder.
No, not at all. And most people have never seen anything go wrong. And like one way or the other, I don't know if you don't drive cars ever, you probably have not been in a car and gone, "Ooh, that was close." Like,
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't do that. Like I can't see. I'm never going to see a bike that's like splitting a gap that's like, I don't know, 2 foot between you and the curb. Like you're not expecting someone to come down that gap ever.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is all like, if you haven't seen it go wrong, then it never really crosses your mind that it can go wrong. But my friend Gareth said that one of his friends, this is really morbid actually, one of his friends was riding this weekend just gone, and they rode past a bike that was just parked up on the side, on its side, and they were like, "That's weird." And then they turned around and they pulled this guy out of a hedge, and he was he was done. He was dead. And then the next day, he put all of his bike gear, all of his bikes up for sale, because that one incident just, flicked a switch, and he was like, "No, it can happen. If it happened to this poor guy, it could happen to me." So, it's. You just got to be really careful. You've got to be so sensible, but anything can happen. But, I'm of the mentality, as long as I'm as careful as I can be about my own actions, and as long as I'm trying to preempt other people's decisions, then I'm giving myself the best chance. But it's easy for people to get distracted and switch off. And, if you've done that same route 100 times, it's like, I'll be fine. But it's that on that 101st time that it can go wrong. So you've just always got to be on it. Just be very careful.
Yeah, and on a bike, you don't get the second chance. Like in a car, you can mess up, and it generally takes 2 people doing something wrong for there to be an accident. Okay, sometimes it's just one. But like if you're, actively looking for people to be idiots and you're driving accordingly, you generally dodge all the stupid stuff. You're like, this person is about to pull out in front of me. I know they've not seen me. And then they pull out and you've already slowed down and you honk at them and they look at you like you've just appeared out of nowhere and you're like, you're an idiot, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like getting carried. If you get carried away and you don't do that in a car, you might be all right.
Yeah.
On a motorbike, I mean, we've all seen horrific things that happen on motorbikes, and physics happens.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, every time I'm out, I wear like leather jacket, proper. They're called a company called Knox trousers with, crash protection. I've got their jacket with crash protection. I've got an airbag jacket that I put on as well. Nice. I always tether myself to my bike, so in the event that I do fly off, airbag jacket goes off. It will protect me a little bit, but
Are those quite common now? Airbag jackets.
I don't see them that much, but a lot of the times, airbag jackets have moved on quite a lot in terms of technology. You've got lots that just have like gyroscopes inside them, and they're all kind of Bluetooth and all the rest of it, and just battery powered. But my one is, a tether. You put yourself on a bike. If that cord gets pulled, then it inflates. But there's probably more people who wear airbag jackets than you realise, just because you can't see them underneath.
Yeah.
But it's $600 to £1,000. Just buy a bloody airbag jacket. If you've got your license and you bought yourself a motorbike, you're probably like 10 grand deep already anyway. So what's another £1,000?
and it's one that's well worth it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Have you ever accidentally set it off? Like left it tethered and got off the bike and walked off?
Yeah, a lot of times I've come close, but I've not done that. But annoyingly, a couple of years ago, I was helping a friend out who had broken down up the road. It was pissing it down with rain. It was night. It was winter. And the quickest way for me to get to him was actually to take my bike. So I rode up, spotted him on the other side of the road, did a U-turn in the road, and then I was going to pull up onto the pavement and like help him out. So I did that, and I saw that, the pavement, it was maybe like an inch off the road. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll just ride up there and it'll be fine. It wasn't. It was like a normal curb. But because I had rain all on my visor and there was a big puddle there, I just hit the curb, front wheel just went woof, and I just fell on the ground like that. It was a 4 mile an hour crash, but that set off my airbag jacket. It didn't protect me at all because it was just, little side impacts, a little roly-poly. So that was really annoying because then you have to like, with my one at least, you can take out the cartridge, change the cartridge.
Yeah.
But with a lot of the ones, you actually have to send the airbag jacket off to the company in Italy, and they have to do all this stuff and re-seam it and blah, blah, blah. But it was annoying, but you just change a cartridge on my one. So yeah, I didn't want it to go off that time, but it did. But there are many times as well when people will just joke around with you and just like grab the tether and just do that. And you're like, oh shit, no. So yeah, so far
I've done that
touch
with
wood, so good.
I have an airbag for skiing, and mine's gas canister because it's quite old now. And yeah, we've done that shit. You're in a bar, your bag's there, and someone just dunk.
That's so irritating.
Fills up the room.
Yeah. Christ.
But no, cool things.
Yeah.
I think you also drove something a little bit silly. Road legal kids toy. That looks like a silly title for a video.
Yeah, that was a silly car. Yeah, so I again Instagram DM. This guy has somehow managed to make it road legal. It's classed as a mobility scooter, which is how we can get away with it. There's a lot of grey areas, I think.
It's not actually road legal.
Well, I mean, it is, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't. Officer, if put it this way, if I would have been pulled over, I could say, look, it's taxed. Here's the V5. He'd be very confused and he'd have to leave because he's got nothing on me. But yeah, no, that was really good fun, and that was part of the Living With series as well, which is which always proves really popular. So I've driven all kinds of weird and wonderful things, really. Yeah, that toy, Ed China's sofa.
Oh yeah.
A wheelbarrow of speed.
Okay.
A Hummer, a limousine. Yeah, all sorts of weird stuff. The Twizy, the Ami. It's all good. Yeah, so I'm always on the lookout for something weird
and wonderful stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The more I can try, the more of a rounded person I become. That's my mantra.
You can reset this is the shittest vehicle on the road.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, I've just come across that MR2 again.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
That's just cool.
Yeah.
Is it going to stay? What happens to that sort of thing after you've done your video and whatever?
So a lot of the time, they either get sold to like close friends or super fans, mega fans who just like to have collections.
Yeah.
Or they get scrapped because they are just so bashed up and so damaged. But this one we'll keep hold of. We'll take it to shows. We'll take it to Cafe in a Machine, and hopefully we'll be able to do a car throttle night ourselves somewhere at some point. That'd be really cool. But yeah, this one is too special to scrap. Too special to get rid of. There's definitely more mileage to be had out of that. Because I think we're only scratching the surface with what it's capable of. So yeah, it was genuinely impressive how well that thing did. Just the fact that a car with 125 pounds of torque managed to move those 45 kilo wheels was just incredible. Yeah. Luckily we bought the car actually with a fresh clutch. Otherwise I think it would have been very difficult. But yeah, no, it's a great thing. Really cool. Yeah. Super happy with how it turned out.
How have you found, because the last podcast was like May last year.
Yeah.
So start of all this crap.
Mm.
And how have you found this sort of transition from, are you now mostly based at home? I know obviously most of your videos you're out and about with the gang, but not like being in the office and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we haven't been in the office at all. I actually went to the office for the first time last week, and it was weird. None of the other guys have been. But yeah, we're just smashing through at home, just doing edits at home. We've got this online chat called Slack, and you just always stay in touch that way. We have Zoom calls on a daily basis. It's fine. I think most of us are actually very happy to be working from home, and it's on our terms. At the end of the day, we know what work needs to be done, and it always gets done. It doesn't matter if we're in an office. And for Ethan as well, he lives in Haywards Heath, so he's spending 30 odd quid or so a day to come in and out on the train.
Oh, wow.
So he has saved thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I actually miss the commute because I enjoyed being on the motorbike. But, me not being on the motorbike for a year and a half is probably a good thing because, it's an hour on the motorbike every single day.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. So, it's hidden disguises, I'm sure, for a lot of people working from home. And, we get to spend more time with our family and our fur babies, yeah.
Have you noticed any sort of trends in online content, like stuff that does better now than it used to, or things you're like, oh, we need to do more of this because this works particularly versus, I don't know, like 5 years ago or something?
Yeah, so I think for us, like I said at the beginning, we've kind of moved more into the relatable content, the cheap car stuff. Stuff that you can watch on a Friday and do on a Saturday. So that stuff always does well. And I think lots of people have got more money these days to spend and, in inverted commas, waste on toys. So if they see us buying a £500 shitter, they'll be like, oh, okay, I've got 500 quid. Let's do it. Let's go to the same place that they went. Let's go on an adventure with the boys, or whatever else they want to do. So yeah, for us, that is an ever-present mantra that we will continue doing, the cheap shit boxes, and just inspiring people just not to be scared of old cars. Yeah. Mileage doesn't matter, so long as the car is a fairly clean service history, just crack on with it. What's the worst that can happen? It breaks down. Okay, you've lost a few hundred quid, move on.
Yeah.
The alternative, the alternative is you've still got it 5 years later, and it's still the car that you depend on. Yeah.
One of the things you started doing is your car stories. Was this sort of off the back of a podcast, or was this a separate thing?
Yeah. So we started a podcast middle of last year. It was very aptly named the Car Throttle Podcast. So we've stopped doing that now, mainly because it took up a lot of time. Yeah. And Car Throttle as a business, in the crudest sense, it wasn't making enough money. So, the powers that be said, you should be making more videos, like actual videos. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not actually making us money. But we did 40 episodes, and Car Stories was basically where we got our audience to write in with weird and wonderful things that have happened to them, their family, their friends, all the rest of it. So we were getting stories from all around the world, and just airing these stories on our podcast. And people love getting shouted out, and we had everything from crash stories to like police officers who are still police officers who are writing in under a pseudonym to say, oh, my name is Officer S. This is what happened. Isn't this funny? Like, we couldn't believe it when we pulled this guy over and he had, the furry dice and blah blah blah. So it was really eye opening, and it was just great to know that during COVID, when everyone was at home, people had something to kind of look forward to, because podcasts, they just blew up, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we had doctors who used to listen in their lunch breaks, and loads of farmers, tractor people tractoring away, and it was just really wicked and very humbling to know that people were enjoying that too. And as I'm sure with your podcast as well, there are thousands of people around the globe, and you've got pretty like high flying jobs, and people in like amazing jobs like listening to car podcasts because it feels like you're chatting to mates and just wasting some time, and it's a good thing to do. And especially mental health, lots of people are feeling more lonely now than they probably ever have, and if you can make people laugh, then that's awesome, isn't it? And just forget about the shit and just change people's minds. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that like too much at the beginning of the pandemic, and then I started getting like quite a few messages from people being like, you know, like, my life's pretty crap right now, and I really like listening to your podcast like once a week. Thank you very much. You're like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it is wicked. It is wicked. Yeah, to know that, you know, just chatting and airing topics and problems just really makes a difference to people, and you know, if it means that they open up to their mate, then that's awesome. It really is.
Yeah. And I like how, like, engaging with your audience like that, like getting their stories, because everyone has, like, and if you go, you know, I know whatever 100 people, I know 100 people with some stories. If you go like, okay, let's take your audience, it's much bigger than that, and there's some absolute bits of gold just waiting for you in there.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool idea.
It takes a lot of sifting through emails to find that gold, to be honest. But, you know, I spent, you know, pretty much every Sunday going through emails and scripting and, you know, rewriting some emails just to make it, you know, grammatically correct. Just so, you know, when you you know, relaying that to the audience, it's all very cohesive and coherent. So it took a lot of time, but it was really enjoyable, and it's something that we do want to do again, but probably not on a weekly basis, maybe once a month or something like that. But every video we now release, we're getting more and more, where's the podcast? When's the podcast coming back? Which was weird, because at the time that we were doing the podcast, people didn't really care that much. And and there were a lot of comments saying, get rid of the podcast. But now it's the other way around. You just can't please everyone, can you?
You can't.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because obviously this is a podcast, but the internet doesn't care too much about podcasts. It's like, absolutely the people that listen do, but you compare like your YouTube entertainment video numbers or whatever. It's not a patch on doing
it really doesn't. It doesn't really scratch the surface. You're right, but I think you know, us as creators, we have to remember that there are people who enjoy podcasts and who maybe have got a bit more time on their hands or whatever else. And I think, you know, the people who watch the videos, they just want quick wins.
Yeah.
And they just want to have a quick laugh, move on with their lives, get back on Instagram, get back on TikTok, whatever. But people who listen to podcasts, you know, for them it's a highlight of the day, and, you know, they like to spend that time listening to stories and, you know, laughing with you or laughing at you. So, yeah, like I said, I think we do have a bit of a kind of moral obligation to make sure that we continue that. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's not about money. You'll never make money from podcasts unless you are, you know, top 10.
Joe Rogan or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, or Shag, Married, Annoyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do it just because we love it. But unfortunately, you know, at the same time, if you're part of a business and it doesn't make business sense, then you have to listen to the powers that be and then say, okay, we'll take a break for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely
bring it back occasionally.
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
But,
yeah, we will. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, doing once a week or something.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot of time.
Yeah, and we were filming two in a day. So yeah, I mean, you know how long it takes to do a podcast. So
yeah, and it's quite actually, I find it's quite intense recording a podcast. I know it's a different sort of thing to doing a video, and like I need a certain amount of headspace to make a good podcast. Like it takes the amount of time it records, but like I can't be thinking about other stuff, and I need to be like in the right zone.
Yeah.
And focused to be able to do it. I can't, and then to try and sort of do like multiple in a day. Nah.
Yeah.
The podcast will almost be too similar. Even if it gets to completely different, my head will be on one track and I'll be like, I'm talking about the same rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't really hide in the podcast, can you? If you screw it up, you know, if you edit a podcast, then it's very noticeable that you've edited a podcast. Whereas with a video, if you do loads of jump cuts, it's like, oh, okay, there's loads of jump cuts. It's a normal video, but there is no hiding when you're recording a podcast. So you always have to think positive, be eloquent, and just make sure that everything you say has meaning. Because if you waffle, then and people turn off, don't they? So always be interesting.
They do. Some people will still be there. Like now.
Yeah,
Hello,
exactly.
hello, people. They're still there.
Yeah. Hello, everyone on the toilet. I hope you're having a good poo.
But yeah, no. And I think my favourite thing about it is you get the people. You get to see the people. Whereas on YouTube, often you don't get to see the person that's making your content.
Yeah,
like,
you see a
get to see
persona,
a version of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to shout very loud on YouTube to get noticed.
Yeah. Do lots of stupid stuff and run around and jump cut it all together.
Yeah, and strip cars and drive little toy cars on the road and stuff like that. do questionably legal things just to be loved.
But that gets you 3 million subscribers.
Yeah, it does.
Well done. That is a big number. That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people.
Do you think if you put on an event and you were like, I want everyone to come to a car throttle event, a small percentage of my audience, like your views is like Wembley Stadium times a few each video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean we have been talking about doing a CT event at some point. It's just been a really busy year, but hopefully later in the year we'll have some sort of car throttle meet. It'll probably have to be some kind of invite only because I think there'd be a few too many people for any place that we end up hiring. But yeah, it should be good. So yeah, watch the space. You'll obviously be invited, Sam.
I'm keen to come.
Good stuff. Excellent.
That's one less space, guys. One less space.
Yeah. Join the queue.
Fine. I'll put my name down on the list and then be like, I have to go and buy some snotter.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't have a shit box, you're not coming in.
Yeah. Well, we normally wrap these up with 5 questions. Since you've been on it before,
Yeah.
I'm going to modify them a little bit.
Oh.
So, if you're going to drive one car for the rest of your life,
Oh, bloody hell, Sam.
and actually, and you're allowed a £500 banger on the side. So you're in for a winner.
Any car for the rest of my life.
You get two cars.
Any cars, okay. Well, if I
One
don't say
£500, and then one more car.
if I don't say Phil, then I'll be crucified, won't I? So I'll go Phil, and then I'll have to get myself. I will say a ropey E46 330 touring. Yeah, for 500 quid.
Nice.
Maybe find one for 800 quid. Find loads of faults and then knock him down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I think the E46 330 is one of my favourite cars that I've ever owned, and I bought one of those for 140 quid. Drove that for 2 years. It was still going strong, 172,000 miles on the clock. Ultra reliable, good poke. Yeah, so those are my 2 cars.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe this will solve my large family car option. I can get a 340D, and then I could get an E46, and I could tow it, and then I've got double the luggage space when I need it.
Or buy yourself a trailer.
Or a trailer, and just...
Yeah, caravan. Yeah, just fill it. Yeah, exactly. Just fill it full of shit. Just trailer it about. Yeah. We could be trailer boys together.
Do you need to... If you parked a caravan on the road, do you have to pay for parking?
Depends how aggressive you are with a traffic warden.
Well, because it's not a car.
No, I don't know. I don't know the legalities of that. But you have a driveway, right?
A small one, yeah.
Oh, we'll get a small caravan.
That's the
I'll find you one. I'll find you one on a dodgy auction site.
Or a skip with a lid.
Oh.
And then just tow that around.
Yeah,
No one's asking you to move that.
Not even bother with wheels. Just tow it around.
With wheels.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Skid it about.
Yeah.
Reversing might be harder.
Yes. You would need a very strong boot lid, wouldn't you? And front wheel drive.
And front wheel drive.
Yeah. Or all wheel drive. Go all wheel drive. Yeah.
Yeah, all wheel drive.
God, we're solving so many problems.
So many things. Okay, best value car, or best value car for under 50k. I mean, this is an easy one for you.
Under 50k.
So much in that bracket.
Under 50k, best value car. How much is a M340i. Is that about 50?
Less than that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I would. Sorry to keep on banging the BMW drum, but if you want a car to do everything and to excel at everything and be fun, I would go for the M340i. I've not driven the M340i. I had the M340D, but I've been told that the i isn't actually that far off in terms of fuel economy either.
I think you get 40 mpg
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah, so I'd go for that because it'll be a bit lighter on its feet, quicker, sound nicer, and genuinely all the car you could ever need. It was wicked. I do miss that car dearly. So that is my top tip.
And they're like properly nice inside now.
Really
you used to look at
nice.
the 5 Series and be like, oh, 5 Series is way nicer. But no, I don't think you do.
No, it's proper class, and the infotainment is nice and quick, and everything is just solid, and you get in and it's just like swathes of leather and just meaty, just chunks of like proper plastics, and you can chuck your thumb in and just really thumb the materials. And yeah, there's no hard plastics in there. It's just, and you feel properly like cocooned, and the outside is just disappears. It's great.
Yeah. And it doesn't have a stupid front end yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. What will happen?
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Most undervalued car at the moment?
I would potentially say the i20N. I was really surprised when I heard it was 25 grand. Because it is such a compelling little hot hatch.
Yeah.
Like if that was 28, 29 grand, I would still think that's fairly decent. I know if you go into the 30s, you're looking at like Civic Type R's and stuff, mid 30s, but I think that is amazing value for money, that car, because the smiles that you get from driving that, and like I said, the mechanical grip especially was just extreme. If you watch that video with Ethan and I smashing around the track, you'll see how scared he actually was, and poor guy shit his pants. He was actually close to tears, and he genuinely wanted to get out the car. He couldn't deal with it any longer. So that for me is a big thumbs up.
Yeah, it sounds like a good one, and they're cool. They look cool.
Yeah. I mean,
fun.
the styling is a bit fussy on the rear.
Yeah.
Especially if you go for a white one, but the blue I think looks all right. Yeah.
Looks better than a Civic Type R. I don't think that's that controversial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not too contro. But no, that's a really cool car, that i20N.
Right, most interesting car to you at the moment?
Bleeding heck, Sam.
What are you looking up? We're giggling. What's on Auto Trader?
So any car.
Any car.
Any car, new or used?
New, old, used.
Well, I am in the process of buying a Porsche 944.
Ooh.
So personally, in my life, that is the most interesting car currently. I have it actually on my driveway right now.
So you bought one?
Well, I haven't paid for it yet. But we bought one as a company for a trading up series that we did with Auto Trader. And that was kind of the last car, our kind of attainable dream car. I say our attainable dream car. It was my attainable dream car.
Yeah.
Because my mum used to own one when I was 15. So it's got like a lot of nostalgia related to that. So when we bought it, it was my decision to buy it, obviously. When we had that, I just couldn't let it go. So I've agreed with my boss to buy it. So... yeah, like I said, I've not paid for it yet, but it is mine.
It's going to be yours.
For all intents and purposes, it's mine. I just love it because of nostalgia. And, it's a 2.5 4-cylinder, really interesting, characterful engine, decent space inside as well, looks great. You can see that on my Instagram. There's loads of pictures on that. And I love it. So for me, that is the most interesting car that is currently in my life.
And your trading up series, were you, with Auto Trader, buying some stuff, buying cars, fixing them up, selling them, buying another car?
Exactly.
And so what was your budget at the start, and what was the final car cost?
So we started with a budget of 5. Ended up buying a VW Up for 2.5.
Yeah.
We spent 500 quid on it, so we were 3 grand deep. Sold it for 3,650. And then with the profit, we then bought a BMW Z4 for $5,000. Did that up, sold it for 7.2, I want to say.
Nice.
I think it was about 7.2. And then sold that and then bought the Porsche. So that was the attainable dream car. A lot of people say it's probably a step down from a Z4, 3-litre Z4. But, you know, it's not about the power and refinement and all the rest of it. It's how a car makes you feel. And Z4 is easy to drive. It's nice and quick and all the rest of it. But, yeah, it just didn't give me that smile factor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that, because that's one of those sort of things everyone looks at and goes like, okay, if I start with this, can I buy this, sell it, buy this, you know, fix it, sell it, buy it, and like how far can I go and how quickly?
Yeah.
I met someone a while ago, and he was like, he was trying to do a project like this, but it was something stupid. He was like, oh, I'm going to buy a $100,000 car, and I'm starting with 200 quid or something. And you're like,
oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably still
Fair
going
play.
5 years later, is he?
might take you a while.
Yeah. Fair play to him. Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't actually heard back, so I don't know. I have to say I can't say how that's been going. But
maybe
totally
he's just made so much money you're no longer
true
in his periphery.
No, actually, he's just bought a yacht.
Okay, yeah, he sounds like he's doing all right then.
Right, final question.
Yes.
5-car garage.
5-car garage. Okay. I would say M340D or M340i. Fill my MX-5.
Yeah.
My Porsche 944. What shitter do I want? Oh, a van. I would go for a shitty little van. Like is it a Peugeot Boxer? Or an old Renault Traffic, something old and diesel.
Yeah.
And I'll take the off-road MR2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Off-road duties.
I've got everything covered. Everything. Yeah. You name a task, I have a car to do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like it.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool.
Good
Well,
stuff.
thanks very much for coming on the podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me again.